All right, welcome folks. Mil Spec Optimal here. Now this is going to be a monkey minute for Memorial Day weekend. I just want to push this out, running across a couple articles I thought may be important for us all to kind of have eyes on. Again, these are articles that typically do not make the mainstream media that we should be aware of. Okay, and so usually they're biblical in nature of some sort, but without further ado, let's hop on over here to the board. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and bell for notification, and all right, so here we are. This is the American Report. Now, this is actually an older report. I want to bring it back up because it does tie into current days. This is actually back when Obama Biden were basically running the country. Bunch of shady deals going on. You saw the Uranium One graphic that I put together that basically shows how everything was pay to play. Well, this is part of that. And this is actually a deal that was going to be going on with CEFC China Energy. And actually, it was captured on the Biden laptop, Hunter Biden laptop, with an effort to turn over Louisiana's proposed Monkey Island LNG port. And so, liquid natural gas port deal with them was actually being pushed through the Department of Transportation's Tiger Grants. And then, of course, we see the Gulf Tanner stuff all come into play. This one, thank God, did not go through. But they were definitely trying to make it happen. But you can get into, you may remember, I've talked a lot about the Gulf Tanners. And this is kind of showing you the fact that we had Jafar coming into the White House. That is the family that ran the nuclear deal or the nuclear program for Iraq, for Saddam Hussein. And so, but if you look at the timing of all of this, Gulf Tanner signed a 35-year Project Pelican deal with Gulf Tanner, which is a UAE-based company. So it's a foreign entity running our port in Cape Canaveral, which, by the way, is directly across from the Trident nuclear program that's run by Lockheed Martin right there in that port. So just a data point there, and right down the street from our space programs, okay? But there's that. And then let's see, we've got all these different things being announced here about the Club K and the Club M at the Malaysian Arms Show. And you can see how it all just kind of stacks up and aligns. And during that time, we actually had the Iran nuclear deal negotiations going on. Remember, that's where we sent $400 million in crisp $100 bills off on a couple C-130s to pay the Iranian government to get their program going. So anyway, this is just a smoking gun, but it'll just show you what's going on. The fact that there are not just Russian Club K missile systems, but the Chinese also have their own container missile system, very similar to the Club K. And so that's a pretty big threat. But the interesting thing is that we kind of have missed over is the fact that the Chinese have a very solid relationship with Gulf Tanner. It's actually part of the Chinese One Belt Road initiative in UAE's port, the Costco controlled port, which is Costco is not the store. That's actually going to be the container company, the shipping company that runs that port. And so they are tied in at the hip with Gulf Tanner, who, by the way, not only controls a 35-year deal for Project Pelican in Port Canaveral, but they also control the one in Delaware. Who might be from Delaware? Let's see. Oh, yeah, that's right. Maybe our current residing president. And so now it's even worse. The one in Delaware is actually a 50-year deal. And all of these deals were done without passing through the security wickets. So that ought to make you kind of raise some eyebrows. The sad thing is the Delaware deal was actually inked when Trump was in office. So you'll figure that one out, all right? The things that make you go, But if you're not familiar with what a Club K is, it is basically a missile system hidden inside of a cargo container. And so you've heard Mike Adams in Natural News talking about the Chinese moving their cargo vessels, potentially to attack the U.S. Well, this kind of comes into play when you start talking about cargo vessels. They can hold a nuclear, biological, chemical, or conventional weapons. Those things launch a supersonic cruise missile in essence, at least the Soviet version does. And it basically takes a nuke and puts it right on your shore, just like you'd have in a submarine, only this is in a container sitting on top of a cargo ship that is non-suspecting. You can't tell the difference, right? And so anyway, huge security risk, and those are some of the deals that they inked. But I just ran across this article, and I thought, you know what? Why not? Let's just pick the scab on that wound one more time, because it is kind of relevant to what's going on today and with some of the intel that we've seen coming out of China. So there is that. All right, let's hop on over here to United Nations and their talking, I guess, about food, taking food from the hungry and giving it to the starving. It is basically coming down to that. It's not good by any means, but they basically say that Ukraine normally feeds about 400 million people. And the fact that now that they are not able to get all of that stuff out, basically that's the breadbasket of Europe, and that has now given an additional impact that is not good. So, but anyway, the thing here that I want to point out, I'm going to go over to my Great Reset chart. I just want to show you something. This is a statement made by the United Nations guy, okay? We already know they're talking about Sri Lanka. They said they've already erupted in protests over food and fuel shortages. But they're also saying a similar breakdown to the social and economic order is beginning to unfold in Indonesia, Peru, Pakistan, and others. And they're saying that 49 million people in 43 countries are basically on the brink of famine and destabilization and mass migration. So where do we see those words? Well, let's go over here real fast to the Great Reset. And you're going to notice right in the middle of that, involuntary migration, that would be your mass migration. Famine and destabilization, you notice that you've got national governance failure, social instability, all of the little buzzwords that is used by the World Economic Forum and the Great Reset, old Klaus himself. So pay close attention to that, because the words they're using are not by mistake, okay? So, okay, so let's break away. We already know we got food shortages and famine coming, but basically, in a nutshell, got a lot of countries, 43 of them with 49 million people who are right on that brink already. And that this whole thing going on in Ukraine, and the fact that we've got shortages already before Ukraine even kicked in on the horizon, just means the situation is going to be very, very dire in the coming months. So, all right, let's pop over here. We're talking to shortages. Amazon. Now, you may remember me reporting about Amazon laying off people. Walmart was already saying they're going to be laying off folks. Well, that's because their inventory levels are starting to diminish. That's because they get all their product from China, okay? And so now Amazon is actually seeking to offload up to 10 million square feet of warehouse space in New York, New Jersey, and Southern California, as well as Atlanta. So, you know what that means? Just confirms what we were talking about earlier. Their inventory levels are getting down to a point where they know that they've got too much. They're going to have empty warehouses sitting around, which eats at their overhead cost. And so they're trying to dump this stuff off and get it off the books, as well as laying off people. That is a sign of things to come. And you're going to start to see that more and more frequently as we go forward. But this right here is, reading the tea leaves, so to speak. I've got that background in supply chain, and as soon as I saw that, I know exactly what that really means. And that means that their inventory levels are basically gone. And so, that's why you do that kind of thing. All right. So, all right. Now, over here to the global debt. Now, of course, this is Russian times, so there is a little bit of take things with a pinch of salt, although it's probably pretty accurate in this case. But it will certainly have the scrutiny of the Ministry of Truth when it comes to any articles coming out of the RT.com region. So, okay. This is basically saying that the tally soared to a record $305 trillion in the first quarter of this year of debt driven by the U.S. and China. We basically are pumping out money and spending it into oblivion, and there is, no recovery for this. Really, you can't kind of put that genie back in the bottle, and so this tsunami of economic debt is coming towards us. I guess is what they're saying, and that it's just a matter of time. We're basically sitting on a debt bomb. All right, and so we already know that it's a powder keg, but we're just pointing that out. As the economy starts to slow down, they're going to have to pump money in to places to try and keep social unrest level set, because in some of these smaller countries, they don't have the ability to keep up with this. And so this is going to be, you're going to see unrest start to unfold and bubble because prices are going to soar. Inflation, they can't get it under control. And because you can't get the product, the ones that are out there are going to go through the roof, which is going to feed the machine. So anyway, there is that. Now let's hop over here to our latest near miss. This is actually over on Watchers News. And we just evidently had an asteroid zing past the Earth at 0.16 lunar distance, which is between us and the moon. As you can see right here in this picture, this green line is where it popped in. This is the distance out here to the moon. I mean, this is the moon's rotation around the Earth, and this green line is the thing that just zinged past us. So it's a matter of time, folks. I mean, let's get real. Something eventually is going to pop in here and hit us. I'm looking for the one named Wormwood. As soon as I see that one named, I know, all right, that's kind of our end point. That's when things are going to get really, really bad. And so don't plan to be here for that. Don't plan to be here for any of the tribulation, actually. But I'm just pointing that out because things are getting bad at a record pace. And it seems like every day it's something new, right? So now, as we're looking up, I just want to point this one out. This was really cool. It just kind of popped in. I don't think anybody was expecting it. But we've got a late May meteor shower that has the potential of becoming a major meteor storm. So I don't know if you've ever experienced the one that was back probably about 20 years ago. But there was one, and I think it's tied to the same one that came through. That the Earth spun its rotation right through the tail end of this comet, and it was spectacular. And so, if you get a chance to catch this, it's supposed to take place in the early hour morning of Monday, going into Tuesday, and it's supposed to be pretty amazing. And if you can get you to a dark place and watch this. Break out the cameras, because I remember the one from 20 years ago that was absolutely insane, the amount of fireballs that were going across the sky. And it's an event that if you want to get your kids out there and take a look and watch it, it doesn't happen very often. So very cool, but I want to point that out. If you get a chance to watch it, please do so. This is going to be amazing. So, all right, listen, that's going to be our Monkey Minute for today. I hope you guys have a blessed weekend and a safe weekend. And I will see you Monday with the next sit rep. You guys be safe out there. God bless. Monkey out. Check out the latest gear at Werx, US.